I was there because yesterday that was there. I was like, what?
Yeah,
they're just giving it away for free. Oh my god.
It seemed like there were some interesting festivities happening yesterday. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to stop by for very long because, you know, I was on the desk, but it did seem very fun. And so if you guys have the time, make sure you come by the stadium. I think there'll be a lot to check out. But of course, the main story here, the main event is going to be our first series of the day. Homebois versus Team Lunatix.
Yep, at the same time here, you know, we did catch a glimpse on the face of Pops just now, the coach coming in from Homebois here recently from Team Hart. Did you know that Pops actually helped Team Hart win a title before 2 seasons ago? And this time, he's doing it not from Hart, but for Homebois. And with the help of antagonists, a brand new fresh face of an analyst here. Hopefully with all this analysts that he's going to be providing, especially when he's been advertising it on TikTok, I feel like Homebois is going to take it further, whereas Lunatix recently had a little bit of a issue, you know. I don't want to get into the details about it here. They've had a very, very big bump before the season actually began. And what really surprised me was that even that happened, Lunatix was kind of able to put up a very good fight yesterday.
Yeah, this is a brand new lineup. These are players, some of which we know their faces. They've been around the MPL, but a lot of them are new from Lunatix Academy as well. But of course, let's talk about these faces. Starting things off, we have the Homebois, consisting of Chibi, Zorn, Ryzel, Warlord, and Sepai.
Okay, we know this, boys. We've seen them over the previous seasons. Well, Warlord really stood out in his debut here, coming in from Indonesia's debut as an import. But Ryzel was something that really shocked us all, because yesterday he was the reason why Homebois was able to turn things around, made a comeback, and then won the first series. Because technically, if Ryzel wasn't able to clutch it for the team, things would have went south for Homebois, and most likely RSG would have taken a 2-0 against Homebois yesterday. So I like this adaptation coming from Homebois, and to be honest, it really surprised me. Reason why Homebois was able to turn things around, made a comeback, and then won the first series. Because technically,
with Hien, Zakus, Yuna, Deto, as well as Esha, this is a lineup that is definitely not as experienced playing together as compared to many of the other MPL teams on the stage right now. And although they weren't able to take a game off of their match against Selangor Red Giants yesterday, they still showed some very promising potential, especially from some of the newer players here. I think Hien as well as Yuna were just starting to get a feel of things. They're starting to improve. I think Zakus especially has a lot to prove in
has
this
not really a lot of options to deal with attack composition,
because it's
except for the
obviously part of the Homebois roster.
Agreed, he is also part of well. He has a lot of experiences testing out, trying every other team's here, so he knows the ins and outs of each team's strengths and weaknesses here, and which also brings me to the point as well, because from Lunatix, because now they don't really have a proper coach here, the majority of the drafts coming in from Lunatix is centered around Dato as well as Asia and Zakus, kind of 3 hits compiling all their information to kind of draft according to our playstyle. And even though they didn't have good success yesterday, it wasn't that bad if you think about it.
Yeah, Team Lunatix definitely in a bit of a situation that they would not have wanted. Only having the analyst without having the voice of a coach on the stage, it does result in many things. Not having that leadership, not having that voice to command the players and tell them what it is they need to achieve. Of course, these are all still very experienced players, and I'm pretty sure that Stingy is pretty accomplished as an analyst as well. So the mindset is there. They understand what needs to be done. It will just lack the depth that a draft may have compared to when a coach is drafting. For example, the players may be more focused on picking up stuff that will work well for them rather than maybe thinking about the big picture of things. So I'm very interested to see whether they'll be able to match up against a champion level coach like Pops.
Agreed, and at the same time as well, you can see the players, they are feeling very, very pumped up. And now from Lunatix here, this is going to be very, very important here. For me, the player that I really want to highlight here is going to be Dato, because he's played for Team Secret in the previous season. His debut wasn't exactly the strongest. Pretty much haven't won a single game coming from Team Secret back then. And now coming in, he hasn't even won a single game thus far. But he has proved himself to be a very capable marksman despite not being able to win a single game. Hopefully this time, you know, they will figure something out, especially coming from Team Lunatix. But for now, the drafts will begin and Homebois will be on the blue side and Team Lunatix on the red side.
Yep, I am hoping for some very interesting stuff on the Land of Dawn here. As we know, a big meta change did just happen with the emblem revamps, as well as 1 or 2 patches since. So the heroes that are more popular nowadays are all up in the air. We see other MPL regions trying out very interesting picks, already seeing heroes like the Aulus and the Alucard from MPL ID. And we've seen some pretty weird stuff here as well, with the Sun coming from Sonic. We saw the Gourd actually getting a victory here as well. So all cards are on the table, and I just want to see stuff that's more clean, more new. And hopefully, we'll get to witness that.
Agreed. But at the same time here, Homebois start things off with Angela as well as Baxia. Bans here, these are comfort heroes here. I think the Baxia is going to be comfort for Luna, but Angela is something that Zackus is very, very comfortable at playing back in the days when he was playing both Homebois as well as RSG when he was previously playing with the roster. But now, the question here is, are they going to prioritize on their Claude? Because we've seen Dato kind of do it really, really well when he was playing COD back when he was playing in Team Secret. But so far, will Homebois deny it away or not? Because Rizal is also a very, very good Claude player.
Homebois will know firsthand exactly how powerful the Claude is, since it was the factor in the hands of Rizal that brought them the incredible reverse victory in Game 1. However, it still hasn't been a pick that a lot of people will prioritize here. So we will see a bit of a full attendance back here as Fanny, Valentina, and Claude are the only 3 heroes so far with 100% appearance in terms of bans and picks in the games here in Season 12.
Yep, Valentina once again the most successful hero right now with 78% win rate in 9 games. Definitely going to be a priority here. However, it is going to be taken out in the equation, pretty much banned thus far. 100% appearance here is going to be Fanny, Valentina, Claude. Fanny, however, is still in the pool. Question here is are they going to play it, yo? Because is it worth first picking the Fanny from the side of Homebois, or maybe even the Claude? But thus far, Lunatix, they choose to ban the Mortis instead. So Fredrin is also going to be up for contention in this regards, but let's see what Homebois takes their first pick.
Yep, Fanny hasn't been banned, Edith hasn't been banned as well. 2 very popular heroes. The Claude that we mentioned, not usually banned out, so it's going to be all available for both these teams here. And it's interesting that the Fanny is let through, because from what we've seen, neither Chibi nor Yuna have prioritized this hero just yet. We know that it is a hero that Chibi is capable of playing, but he has more recently been focused on utility jungles, tank jungles, playing more of a supportive role, with the exception of that Martis, which secured them the Game 3 win. Homebois gonna go for the Edith pick. This hero has really been rising up the ranks in popularity.
I think based on the choices that they have as well, like instead of going for priority picks here, going for flexibility is going to be key, right?
That's
like
true.
Edith is great for XP, great for roam as well. We've seen several teams kind of mix it up in that regard. So I guess going for those angles is going to be a little bit safer, and then decide on what your opponents are going to be matching up. So Lunatix, they have options now to take away the Claude and also pick a Fredrin for themselves. But the question here is, you know, are they going to focus on playing a healing composition? Because so far, considering that Baxia as well as Angela have been banned off, is there a potential that we are going to see a potential Florin coming from Lunatix?
That is true. Florin is a hero that's been getting a lot of popularity in pub and ranked games, but we haven't seen it here in MPL MY yet at all. I wouldn't be surprised. The Lunatix gonna start off pretty interestingly as well. We get the Cho, we get the X-Borg out instantly. Probably one of the few positive matchups into the Edith in the EXP lane, so they're already setting up on that. And I want to know, a very obvious difference in the draft here coming from Homebois versus when Lunatix was playing against Red Giants is that Red Giants put a lot of emphasis on banning out supports and tanks because they know Esha. They're very familiar with him. He was their former teammate. It seemed like they put a lot of focus towards making sure that his hero pool would be affected heavily, and that forced him to play very weird heroes like the Franco mid, like the Diggy mid. Homebois doesn't seem to be doing the same thing, so we might get to see a little bit different from the Eshazakas mid combo today.
Well, I want to see how that goes, but Homeboys, they secure the Frederick for themselves as well as Beatrix, so no Fanny thus far from the side of Homeboys, and Team Lunatix still has the option here to flex both the Cho as well as the Xbox. Xbox potential XP, maybe jungle. Cho, maybe XP, maybe roam, but most likely it's going to be leaning on the roam here if we were to follow the trend of day number 1. 100% win rate on Cho on day 1 here in MPL and Y. Day 2, didn't see too much Cho. We saw a couple games here and there, but even then, day 1 was just a complete Cho show.
Cho show is correct, honestly. We've seen so many good shows, and I wouldn't put it past Zakas as well. I do feel like Cho is much more of a Zakas hero than an Esha hero. It's something that sets up, it's something that's flashy, it's something that's aggressive, something that Lunatix wants to play around, especially if they are still going for a double support composition. And that seems to be the case here. We're seeing the Kaja, so that's going to be the Divine Judgment and Way of Dragon available for Team Lunatix. Two very powerful single target CC options, but they are definitely lacking in some damage as of right now.
You know, 75% win rate on the Kaja, pretty good as well, because when I talk about Cho show was day number 1. Kaja show was literally day 2. That's crazy. And it's a dynamic shift here coming from Lunatix. They are, you know, learning from the other team's mistakes and drafts based on game 1 and game 2. Day 1 and day 2. Now, with this composition, they've got a very clear objective on what they want to do, right? Which is pretty much isolate the target, pick them off, and then just one-shot them and get a kill. In this case, they are going to neglect a lot of frontline pressure in terms of soaking the front lines, and that's going to be a problem from side Team Lunatix, because if they don't get the right targets, everyone from side Homeboys, if they get on top of you, you're dead. Edith, extremely tanky. Frederick, extremely tanky. If you don't one-shot him, he is going to turn the tides in their favor very, very quickly.
Absolutely. Team Lunatix right now, my main worry for this is that we saw it from yesterday. The double support mid-roam combo is very effective in the early game because it gives so much utility. But the problem came when it went to the mid and late game because they did not have enough damage. And what I'm seeing here, especially with the X-Borg in the EXP lane, there's still not enough damage here. They need some burst, and we know they're not going to be playing a mage most likely now that both Kaja and Cho have been shown. So they need like an assassin, they need an early game marksman or something. Homeboys already banned out the Harif to deny that possibility. Lunatix ban out Farsa and Kaditha. Kadita makes sense. I don't feel like they needed to ban the Farsa. I feel like they should have maybe gone for like even the Novaria, the Paramis, because those are really comfortable heroes for Warlord.
Huh, interesting coming from Homeboys. They're actually banning off the Natan. That's something I did not expect.
They're getting rid of early game burst.
But considering the amount of mages that has been banned here, Lunatix are getting very, very little option in terms of magical damage here, because Homeboys, they can still opt to not go for mage because Edith still deals a decent amount of magical damage. But the question here for me is that how would they fare well against a Terisla if Homeboys decide to go pick it up? Because considering that now we have seen a popularity rise for roaming Terisla, if Homeboys decides to go for it, they have a composition that is so tanky that Team Lunatix has not really a lot of options now to deal with a tanky composition. Except for the Xbox,
I think it's going to be a roam to I do like that.
Nice.
Oh, you can see Homeboys, they recognize that Lunatix doesn't have a lot of magic damage options left. So we're going to see the Lunox come out. This seems very likely to be a goal lane Lunox because we've seen that from Detto in the past, though very rarely. I don't think it's a jungle Lunox because that's very much Todak tech. Homeboys, it's going to be the Warlords of Celion, secured them victory in game 3, and they're going to go for the Franco. I think they were definitely considering the Kufra before the Lunox came out, but now that that's here, they need more CC. So I do like this comp from the Homeboys.
Yeah, Homeboys has a very, very scary composition as well. A lot of CCs, a lot of hook potential as well, kill potential. Alongside that as well, the three very, very tanky. So the Lunox coming from Lunatix can somewhat deal with the tankiness, but at the same time, the Franco pickup forces Team Lunatix to be put in a situation where if they go for the Melissa, oh no, wait a minute. You know, Franco is a great way to deal with Melissa. Beatrix, yeah, sure, I don't really care. I'm just gonna go in, bite you, there's absolutely nothing you can do. And I feel like Homeboys, they're still sticking to their core roots, which is be very, very tanky, you know, try and poke things out, and then go for the pick fight, hoping that Lunatix makes some sort of mistake. But this is a surprise factor, because right now, Team Lunatix, doesn't have the strongest frontline potential except for maybe the Cho or the Kaja to kind of do its own thing, but a Hanzo jungle to cut the backlines.
I love it. I think that's a great idea here. So this is a gold lane Lunox. Jungle Hanzo makes a lot of sense because right now Homebois has a super balanced lineup. There is no way you are front to front fighting that without some solid team fighting options. And with only the Kaja and Cho, that's not going to be enough. So they avoid fighting entirely. They just go for the backline. They just go for pickoffs. Don't interact with the Homebois. And I think that's going to be a great game plan for Lunatix.
Well, from what I'm seeing here, based on this draft here, Homebois, they have a very solid frontline draft here. They have a very well-balanced draft between split push, between the front lines, pick lines, as well as poking. Overall, nothing can go wrong for them, but Team Lunatix, they are playing a split push conversation, and I'm extremely excited to see how it goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the land of dawn for the first time here in week 1, day 3. It's going to be the Homebois on the blue side coming off a stellar victory against RSGMY versus Team Lunatix on the red side, currently searching for their first victory of the season.
Now, I'm really worried about this here because, like, Team Lunatix, they're playing on very, very thin waters. Or like on thin ice, sorry, not waters. Thin ice, dangerous waters.
Same thing.
And it feels like their win condition is solely on just snowballing the early stage. Okay, we know how strong Cho is now pre-4 because of the XP deprivation changes into the patch. But besides that, if you're not owning really, really hard, I feel like Lunatix is always going to be running away from Homebois every single time unless they get an isolated pickoff.
But that is kind of how the lineup works in the first place, right? They want to run. They just don't want to fight the Homebois until it's on their turf. This is why you have the Cho. This is why you have the Kaja. They just catch someone out, set up for Yuna to start getting kills, and it's going to be great. We already see Zakas being able to harass Chibi, force him to use the retry kind of early, though I don't think it's going to matter too much since the Turtle is going to be up very soon. This matchup in the EXP lane, not too ideal for Sabat as a X-Borg when you're dealing with these tankier, slower heroes. It's always going to be fun for you, so this will be a better testing ground for Kian as a new player.
This is interesting considering that they are
Hold on,
though. Right now.
Kian in a lot of danger, gonna get flipped over the shoulder of Sabat, already drops his Spiraga armor. Chibi still in front of him, level 4, he's got it, that's the Appraiser's wrap. Smackdown, first blood for Chibi.
Well, that was a very, very nice pick off here coming from Homebois. They understood that the turtle time is going to be coming here. We saw how Qian was trying to clear the creep waves here. Homebois was able to understand that, hey, his next move is going to be running down, caught him by surprise, and then just pick him apart. And now with turtle control in their favor, Lunatix, the only option here is they either force a fight or have Yuna trying to steal it away, but it looks like the steal is about to happen.
Yep, the flicker, Zakas can't get the kick. Warlord going to secure the turtle somehow with 2 junglers in front of him. And that's going to be one objective going into the hands of the Homeboy. Zakas not able to find his pickoff.
My goodness, that was a very interesting attempt, but still Warlord very, very hot on his head, on his feet here. His Sicilian has been really on point here, but now we are going to be taking a little bit of a short pause here to figure out what's going to be happening. But what I do know is that Team Lunatix has very, very clear game plans. They made a little mistake. They tried to salvage the situation. They understood that this is the composition that we can play around with. Very, very clear objectives. But is it quick? Is it on point? Is it a little bit clean? I would say needs a little bit of improvement. So that is something that I think throughout the game, they will need to start to adapt and learn. And you can see that Homebois is also trying to adjust and try to pick a tell on what Lunatix is trying to do throughout this game.
But based on historical data, though, we know that Homebois, the more mature team, the more experienced team, will usually adapt to these weird situations a lot more quickly compared to Team Lunatix. So understanding that, do you think it was a good idea for Lunatix to go in with a draft like this?
Ooh, that's the thing, right? It's so risky. We've seen Lunatix kind of do it before in the previous season when Jom and Uni was playing together, right? We have Fanny, we have a Beatrix composition. When they were playing that, they love playing this. They're very used to playing a 4-1 strategy. One on the other side, one on the other side. But in this case, this composition that they have right now is not 1-4 strategy. It's going to be like a 1-1-3 fight where you have either the Xbox kind of doing their own thing. But without further ado, looks like the game's about to go. We are going to be heading straight into the game once again. problems has been resolved, and we are jumping right in right now to see the action.
Yep, thank you very much to our marshals for resolving the problem as quickly as possible. Probably one of the fastest pauses we've had yet, so we can jump straight back into the action. Like we saw, Homebois are currently 1 kill up, not a very big net worth lead, but Lunatix do have a composition that would ideally want to find more pickoffs earlier into the game.
Now that I mention it as well, because Homebois, I'm surprised that Homebois is playing this defensively, but now it makes a little bit more sense because based on the XP tally just now, Chibi just hit his level 6, whereas Yuna has been 6 a little bit quicker because of his innate first skill, where he's able to just gobble up neutral creeps along the way. And the reason why Homebois is playing this defensively is they're afraid that Yuna might be stealing away XP from farm from Chibi.
Yeah, they gotta make sure that the Hanzo isn't just coming in and gobbling stuff up from their side of jungle. TV though trying to make an engagement, sets up the stun into the hook, into the Bloody Hunt. Esha gonna be removed from the Land of Dawn before he has a chance to do anything.
Yeah, that's the problem about Team Lunatix's composition. They're playing a 1-1-3 right from the get-go, means that early pressure is pretty hard to actually get some sort of pickoff, especially when Dato is going to be playing on the goal lane here. They need Dato to be a little bit more aggressive, and Aisha and Zakas hasn't been able to set up for this kind of plays, considering how difficult it is that based on Homebois' composition.
Yeah, you expect that Lunatix would have more catching power with Divine Judgment and Way of Dragon, and we can see it with the Divine Judgment right to Warlord. Not going to be enough though. Here comes Yuna flicking forward. Zakas, he's trying to catch him. Appraiser's Wrath, not going to do too much. Warlord finally going to get kicked back to the jungle and taken out by the members of Team Lunatix. Zorn gets one final hook into the onward. Zakas going to be
we live in times of relentless change.
And removed as a vengeance kill
times of great
for the Homebois mid lane.
This is good. This is actually good for Lunatix right now here. They have a pretty good solid plan here on how they want to do it, but the mistake was Zakas got caught out. Based on the checklist,
Zorn again with his hook.
Every checklist in the book in order to secure the victory has to be checked out.
For
It's all
Chibi
about
on the
closing the
Fredrin.
game this
Yuna
time.
looking for something. Sepat dropping real low. Kian losing his Ferraga armor. Sepat going to be able to get immortality actually just in time, so he will survive that as Zeto drops to half HP. Lunatix may have to back this off. Zakas going to get
caught out.
forward.
Zorn again with his hook.
Cannot find his pick. Rizel secures the kill on the Lunatix throw.
My goodness, the amount of ACCs that Homebois has once you get in is nearly impossible to get out. And Zakas, despite having the innate component immune here, he wasn't able to do anything. It's just so unfortunate. At the same time, because he wants to get Lunatix, they have a very clear game plan. I think the background is easy as long as you have this hunt, so they just make somewhat of a distraction to allow you not to deal with him. But over time, nearly impossible to get out. He's a little bit having more the NA item immune here because he wasn't able to do it now, but eventually they will find a way. But the hook!
Zorn finding Zakas. Bloody Hunt sets up an easy kill. Rizel now 2-0.
Oh boy, Zorn is just playing out of his mind. Like, this is the signature Franco that we saw yesterday. And again, not missing a single beat here. Homebois is now still playing a little bit safe here, playing very, very good controls along the objective so far. But let's take a look at the first item priority. Interesting enough, it is going to be a Sky Guardian helmet coming from Chibi. Looks like from the side of Homebois, they want to play a little bit more kiting in the early stage rather than just hard engage and taking objectives.
I'm pretty sure this is a very confident item from Chibi as well. We saw yesterday, whenever he's on Fredrin, first item is 100% anti-cuirass. He goes for Guardian Helmet this game because he knows he's ahead 3-0. This is a score we've not seen from the Fredrin since the start of the tournament. Yuna looking for Warlord, but he cannot continue this. And now Zakas is left in the lurch. Forced to flicker out to safety from 4 members of the Homebois.
Yeah, the amount of poke that Team Lunatix can do only so much unless Chen starts to build up his items here. And Ice Queen's one coming in here and there. They still need somewhat of a damage to actually deal with all these chunky bursts. But in this case, Chen is going to get caught out.
Yeah, gonna be knocked up by the Earth Shatter. Vigarga armor already gone. 3 members of the Homebois wailing down on the new EXP laner for Lunatix. And he stands no chance. Zorn currently with a 45% hook rate accuracy.
Yep, at the middle lane as well, we can see Yuna also using his ultimate here to actually break the going for a little bit of rat
Oh
here, but the
my
hook
goodness.
once again from Zord. My
That's
goodness.
gross into the Bennett's Rage Esha. There is no chance. Rizel killing spree. Homeboys are in full control, and Zorn raises his hook rate by another 5%.
Is that 50% hit rate? It felt like 100% to be honest. Every
know,
single
right?
time it zooms in, boom, he got a hook.
Every single time, Yuna not even gonna get a chance to jump onto Warlord
gonna try.
before he CC'd, and Chibi secures the turtle just to add insult to injury.
Ah, Yuna again trying to make this kind of attack. And that's the downside of having a Hanzo, right? You can only steal, but you can't be the ones in front. And this is going to be difficult considering that your ultimate has a time limit. So once you use it, you have to make a play eventually. And Homeboys, they understand this, and now they're about to make action.
Zorn finally misses a hook. Earth Shatter from the backline. Subba disrupting the back. The kick onto Zorn. Esha is gone. Mega kill. Double kill for Rizel as the backline continues to be dived under. Subba going a bit too far. Chibi with the Appraiser's Ref. Not going to hit anything except for the demon from Yuna. But here goes Rizel flickering forward. Monster kill. Double kill once more for the Beatrix.
My goodness, so much damage. There is a reason why he was the MVP for Homeboys yesterday. But at the same time, Yuna is going to try to salvage the situation.
Oh, bloody Han Yuna.
Oh, boy.
Not even going to be able to get a cheeky kill onto Zorn, who's able to recall back with the tiniest sliver of HP. Let's have a look at that instant replay.
Oh, this replay here was just absolutely chaotic because the moment Lunatix clumped up together, Homeboys knew for a fact that they have so much damage and tanky ability to actually dive the back lines. And to top it off guard, Chibi was able to hit a big fat appraisal wrap and the entire 3-man roster that's doing damage from beside Lunatix, and there was just nothing they could have done about it.
Yeah, this is really bad for Lunatix right now. They have a lineup that needs them to be somewhat even towards the mid game, but Homeboys have already run away with the momentum here. Already a 6,000 net worth lead, not even 10 minutes in. There's only the tier 2 towers left for Lunatix, and they just don't have enough damage. Detto as well as Yuna are not being able to find the kills that could potentially snowball them off of this.
Yeah, they need those DHSs, and it's so hard, especially if Yuna goes for it. Who else can go besides Yuna? Because Dato eventually won't be able to do too much. Divine Glaive is not going to hit as hard as we expect, especially against 3 very, very beefy tank compositions here. And the Brilliance obviously is great, but if you go for the Darkness Pounds, means that you are going to forego your invincibility. And that's going to be a big problem here for Lunatix.
Yeah, they gotta sacrifice something. It's not ideal though. Subbot already disrupting Yuna in the backline. This Edith has been making so much happen across the map. At the very least, Lunatics are able to trade the top tier 1 for that Lord. It's the first Lord of the game, shouldn't be too difficult to take out. But Homeboys are very strong right now. They could even use this to potentially threaten an inhibitor.
Now the question here is, Team Lunatix, they've got so much pick-off potential, but who do they pick off? Because if you think about it here, if they try for Warlord once again, they have so much stopping capabilities from Homeboys to stop that from happening. You've got the stuns from Edith, you've got the taunt from Chibi, you've got the Sanguine Claw, you've got the hook. There's just so much CC coming from Homeboys.
Yuna got very close actually, dropping to Rizel to 40%. Goes to show that Hanzo has damage as long as he's given enough time to do it. It's just that the rest of Lunatics are no longer tanky or durable enough to walk in front and buy time for this Hanzo. And that's proving to be a massive issue for Lunatics.
Oh boy, look at how they dealt with the ult coming from the Yuna here. Every single time showing himself, he's doing damage, but what damage are you going to do if you're not able to move at all? And that's going to be the CC game that Homeboy is going to try to do. And it's smart because they're just choking it out. They're just baiting out major important spells from Lunatix. And because of this, they're just losing so much map pressure because of this.
Yeah, textbook gameplay from the Homeboys. They understand Lunatic's weakness, doesn't allow them to take any control in the early game, and after that their comp falls off hard. Homeboys make sure not to disrespect their opponents, plays it slow, plays it meticulous, but also with the signature Homeboys aggression.
Now, let's take a look at items as well. Raijo, he just got his Haskell, doesn't even need his Winds of Nature. That's pretty ballsy, but at the same time, considering that he's like a 3k net worth lead compared to Dato, why not, right? Why not? Why do I even need the Winds of Nature? Because the only physical damage here is gonna be Cho, Hanzo, and Export, but none of this tree can actually threaten him.
Rizel does not feel the need to go for defensive itemization right now. Why would he? 7-0. Zorn Conceal play, going to whiff that iron hook there. Not sure if Lunatix didn't even see them or they were just slow to respawn. But the Homeboys are completely out-tempoing their opponents.
But that's the thing, right? Team Lunatix just needs one big good fight in order to turn the tide in their favor. And that's going to be picking off high-value targets. And that high-value target is going to be Raizo as well as Chibi. If they can get a single kill on 2 of those heroes, immediately it gives a little bit of hope towards Team Lunatix. But still, one fight is not going to be enough for them to actually even out the scores.
Yeah, this is a really tall order for them right now. You can see just how much advantage Homeboys were able to get with that last Lord push. These are crazy numbers. You expect this from an 18-minute Lord, not from the first Lord of the game. That's not even enhanced. Homeboys have full control. Like you said, Terrence, I don't feel like even a single fight victory is going to be enough for Lunatix to claw this back.
Yeah, they need to find a way here unless unless Yuna is able to do something about this Lord. Like, he needs to find a way to steal it here, because right now he does have the charge. He's all the way back in the base. He's sending up his clones out now to check the information, but maybe it's a little bit too preemptive here, considering that the Lord is not even half HP, but it does get resetted, so that means it's going to be the dance around the Lord once again.
I would probably want to pay attention to Subbat's movements. He will be going into the back line, gets us the onwards onto Kien, but the X-Borg is very tanky. He'll be fine for now. Zorn gonna walk into the brush, get pulled back by the Divine Judgment, but Lunatix will be forced into a fully defensive retreat. They know that they cannot fight Homeboys head on.
This is smart. This is good. Like, don't take a improper fight here. Lunatix, they're just weighing their options right now. And if they're able to find a proper fight, that's going to be the way to go. But it seems like they are going to begin the fight.
Now Chibi in the front line. Zaka is not able to get the kick angle. He still has Way of the Dragon. Chibi going to be jumping into the back. Zaka is going to be pulled back, dropping a lot of HP, somehow escaping with a tiny sliver of HP. But Team Lunatix will just be forced to retreat once again. No chance of contesting this as Chibi secures it with the Appraiser's Wrath.
Now Chen, oh my goodness, Chibi didn't even need to use the Retribution for the Lord. Steals the purple buff away from Team Lunatix. Well, all potential chance of Lunatix making a comeback is slowly crumbling to pieces because Homeboys is not giving them any kind of room to try and make a comeback out of this, because Homeboys just got everything checked here. Like, based on the checklist, step 1 to 10, every checklist in the book in order to secure the victory has been checked out. It's all about closing the game this time.
I agree with you there. It feels like Homeboys has just done this to perfection. This is a team that's very experienced, very confident. And now they're going to be even more confident as the Luminous Lord going to be crashing into the mid inhibitor, doing a good amount of damage. Yuna's Spirit not even going to last very long. Their inhibitor has fallen. Homeboys are going to be looking for more. Esha flickering from the back line. Gets the pull on the right, but he flickers out to safety himself. Appraiser's Wrath going to miss entirely. His last Insanity zones out the rest of the Homeboys. But 5 members alive on both teams still. Not a bad result for Team Lunatix as long as they're able to continue clearing out the minion wave. The Demon going to tank the damage from Renner's Apathy, but no more Divine Judgment for Esha. Zaka's not able to get the angle for the kick either.
Oh boy, this is tough. This is rough. Like, if Esha was able to get Raizo like 5 minutes ago, probably that would have been a kill for Team Lunatix to kind of scale back in the game. But considering that now he's level 15, he's 6 slotted with Haskell, getting himself full HP is just like 2 auto attacks away from any minions or targets right there. And this is going to be tough, but they are going to try again.
Zakas looking for the kick. Earth Shatter onto 2 members onwards. Zakas gets pulled back, taunted forever. Immortality popped on the Toe. Toe gonna flicker away. Zakas just somehow getting out, but the Appraiser's Wrath finishes him off with the Renner's Apathy. Legendary streak for Raizel. Here comes Yuna, and there goes Yuna. Esapa jumps to the back line, loses his immortality under the crystal. He's gonna dash out to safety. All 5 members of the Homeboys are still alive and kicking.
Wow, a lot of damage, but at the same time, no more inhibitors from the side of Team Lunatix. And Homeboy says, you know what, we are going to try and force the issue right now.
Esha gonna be zoned out, last Insanity on top of Raizel. Beatrix gonna lose immortality here and dropping real low, but he dashes over the wall as the Iron Hook catches X-Borg. Kian loses immortality, uses Flicker, somehow escapes the grasp of the Homeboys.
Oh boy, a little bit too close here. Quick fingers coming from Raizel here to swap between his Winter Trinket as well as immortality, because if that did not happen, he would have just died then and there, and that would have given the gold that Team Lunatix they need, as well as XP, to kind of scale back to this game. So fortunately for Homeboys, they almost threw the fight, but still, it is still within Homebois' control right now because, again, Lunatix, you can see the desperations are starting to kick in, but they are a little bit more refined in how they're picking their fights now because it's gotten to this stage.
Yeah, as long as that desperation is able to keep them in the game, they'll go for it every single time. I gotta give props to both teams for that attack there. Homebois for making sure not to over-invest despite a 10k net worth lead, and Lunatix somehow being able to keep their base alive, trading only Zakus' life against a full 5-man siege.
This is interesting, the movement coming from Homebois. They're setting up an ambush with both Zorn as well as Ryzel, hoping to actually catch off Yuna if Yuna decides to push out on the lane himself. But is that the wisest choice? Because as of yet, Lunatix, that's a good game plan, but I think they're just too afraid to even push out at this stage.
Yeah, they have to be. They have to be so wary. But I do like that there's still some aggression here. We can see how Escha and Zakus are positioned to potentially catch out any stragglers. Gonna be trying to scout out, provide vision. They know this next Lord will be a win condition for the Homebois. Oh, no, they're gonna be bloody hunt onto Zakus. Make sure that he cannot dash forward. Already taking a lot of damage, drop to 60%. The Lord will fall, and Homebois will instantly walk away, saying that their job is done.
Oh my goodness, they got the good read on Asia as well. They knew for a fact that he is going to be flanking from the sidelines, going for the Divine Judgment, because that's happened just now against Ryzel. But this time, Zorn got the good read, went for the concealed play, but unfortunately was able to stop the track. But now, let's take a look at the items real quick here. Almost everyone is almost 6 slaughters as well. Dado is pretty strong. A couple more items coming in from Xbox as well as Kaja is needed in order to kind of even the score, but it might be a little bit too late considering that the Lord is going to be coming in. I feel like this is going to be a do-or-die situation for Team Lunatix, and with not having immortalities here, it's going to be tough, especially dealing against Chibi.
Yep, the Lord gonna be crashing in. Yuna doing a good amount of damage to Warlord in the backline. As the gonna pop Primal Wrap, drop down. Warlord is actually dead here, but so is Zakus. Legendary streak for Ryzel. His last insanity onto 4 members of the Homebois does not do enough damage. Escha gonna lose immortality. Detto forced to flicker backwards, but they got the killing spree on Toothley. Edith as well. Ryzel gonna be inside the Brilliance. Detto gets the shutdown onto Ryzel, and now Homebois are forced in a full retreat as the final hit gonna find Zorn, pop immortality. Conceal does not save him from the mega kill that Yuna earns in defense of their crystal.
This is so smart coming in from Yuna. He's just taking advantage of his fury by regenerating it from this base, and they just keep on resetting all the way through because of the fact that when he uses his skill onto his multiple minions, he's able to get those charges so quickly, and because of that, everyone from Sun Homebois just did not expect the amount of damage that Yuna is doing, and Yuna is just making it work, and this is the team fight that Lunatix needs in order to make a comeback, because slowly but surely, if Homebois doesn't have an answer to deal with Yuna, things are gonna go south.
That base defense has changed the entire dynamic of the game. That was a Luminous Lord push with 5 members. The fact that Yuna was able to get Warlord instantly, and then the rest of Homebois were just diving a little bit too deep. Understandably, they have a lot of damage, but Ryzel flickering forward here is not the play just to go for Escha. The Kaja matters nothing at this stage, and he's just buying so much space. This is where Hanzo becomes a big pain in the butt. He is full build.
You know, it's funny considering that the fact that, you know, he didn't have this much damage and mobility prior to this fight, because every single time Homebois, they see the Yuna coming in, they will try and chain CC and clear the clones as quickly as they can. But this was the only time that Homebois kind of ignored it, and there's a reason why you need to kind of dodge the Hanzo, right? It just brings so much damage, and for Warlord to kind of just get killed right from the ghetto, it's crazy, and it's no surprise. Look at the damage dealt coming from Yuna, 88,000.
Divine Judgment and Way of the Dragon, and Zorn is bursted into oblivion. Yuna not going to be able to jump on Ryzel, but he forced the Wind of Nature out. That's going to be a cooldown for the next Lord fight.
The Hanzo, right? My goodness, this is huge. This is a little bit unexpected of all Team Lunatix. It's crazy, and it's no surprise. Look at the damage dealt coming from Surprise here, but they're hanging on for
Divine Judgment and Way of the Dragon, and Zorn is bursted into oblivion. Oblivion.
Against
Yuna
both
not
boys,
gonna be able to jump on
and now
Rizal, but he
can't have
forced the
it.
wind of
And
nature.
this is
Every
why
last one of these
Homebois
Homebois
is
for the
slowly
next
losing that
Homebois.
mobility to actually try to track
This is a little bit unexpected of all three Lunatix game.
It's crazy, and bullying
Homebois
is
may be getting a taste of their own medicine here, but this gives me the reverse of Kian and Zacchus stoning out Homebois into their own jungle. Chibi keeping vision on the Lord. Kian gonna get flipped back over the shoulder. Last Insanity comes out. Warlord is dead in the back line. Rizal gonna be chased down by Zacchus as he kicks him in the wrong direction, but maybe his job is done. Sapat still trying to buy time, try to jump on top of Yuna, who is actually TP'd into the fight, but he's not gonna be able to jump on top of him. He'll get Zacchus as a bit of consolation prize. Kian dropping very low, but he still has his immortality somehow. And Yuna refreshes, comes back in with the ultimate. Not gonna be able to do too much with the Winter Trunkian coming out of TB. The Iron
Oh my God!
from Zorn! Pulling Esha across the world into the hands of Sapat, gaining another kill for the Homebois.
Oh my goodness, the minions working on the crystal as well. They need to back off. Dato is able to defend this. They hold on for now, but the fight is still going on here.
With the hook onto Kian once again. Last Insanity comes out to keep him alive. Lord Knockup actually saving the X-Borg's life. But for what? This objective will finally fall into Homeboys' hands, and Lunatix will now have to prepare for another defense of their lives.
Warlord not having the time of his life at all. But let's take a look at the replay here on how things happen here. Obviously, this hook, my goodness, Zorn
That's
able
crazy.
to hook the Kaja mid-animation and then catching that. That is not an easy thing to do. That is not an easy thing to do at all.
Not simple, but so is this push. Homeboys have tried this once before, and Lunatics have foiled their plans. Esha as well will be back for this Lord dance, but the waves are synced, and Homeboys are going to be pushing this in with their Fuel Fury. Lord going to be taking a good amount of damage here from Yuna. Kian going to be taunted. Zorn looking for the hook, not going to find it. Sapai gets knocked up. Kian as well. Lord still pushing in. Very healthy, 50% HP. They're going to pop the immortality on the GB as Last Insanity applies slow to the entire team of Homeboys, and Kian gets the shutdown. Zacchus with the way of the dragon, kicking Rizal into the Divine Judgment. Immortality pops. Rizal is dead. Yuna with the unstoppable streak in defense of their crystal. Homeboys fails again.
Again, Yuna is just so damn annoying. This defense coming in from Lunatix is just crazy. The turtle defense coming in is just insane because of the fact that they've got so much dodge capabilities here. Brilliance from Dato to buy time, Firaga armor to buy time, and as long as all this time is being bought here, it allows Yuna to keep on resetting his ultimate here, and eventually Homeboys needs to find a way to deal with it, and because of that, they're just getting completely demolished. And I did not expect this at all, but Homeboys, they're fumbling because of this.
Zacchus gets the kick once again onto Sapat, way of the dragon into the team. They get the hook onto him, but it's not going to be enough as Last Insanity from Kian. Esha flickers forward and instantly dies. He was not expecting that. Immortality pop has to dash back to safety. Lunatix has lost their minion wave. They get TV and Rizal, but it's still not going to be enough.
I did not expect this at all, but Lunatix is pulling some really, really crazy pocket strategies. Should not have went this way to go, but, you know, they played it to their strengths. Yuna was able to find that one mistake from Homeboys, and one is all they need, because with this Lord push advantage, it actually equalized the score for Lunatix, and Lunatix is able to keep up in terms of economy this time compared to, what, 5, almost 10 minutes ago in this fight. And I don't know what to say, because Team Lunatix, they looked like they were about to lose this game, but Homeboys, you know, that's the beauty about MPL, right? Expect the unexpected. But now, based on these items here, everybody's all maxed out. It's all about those immortalities and Winter Trunkian swaps now.
Yeah, everyone is full build now. We can see even the switch. Yuna going for Sea Halberd, switching out that Blade of Despair just to take down the tankier members of the Homeboys. This situation here, ladies and gentlemen, is unbelievable. The Homeboys are fumbling in a game where they had a 10,000 net worth lead. We are in a crazy meta right now where anything can happen, and the Hanzo base defense has been incredible.
I did not expect this here. Like, this is pretty early for the day number 3 here, first week. I did not expect this kind of game. None of us, I'm pretty sure in the audience, in the viewers here, were expecting Lunatix to put Homeboys in this situation. And what a way to start to play day 3 here in the regular season. It's crazy. But now,
when it comes to this Lord dance here, it seems like Homeboys, they are going to try to think of a different approach now. They're no longer thinking about going for a front-to-front matchup now. They're setting up with Zorn as well as Ryzel, going for an ambush, and if they are able to steal the crystal away while Team Lunatix is not home, that's going to be a win for Homeboys. I guess that's going to be the idea that Homeboys is going to be thinking, or if even better still, get a kill onto a Yuna.
Yeah, I think that's the goal. They're gonna bait the Lord, wait until Yuna sends out his ultimate to try and catch it, and then maybe send Franco as well as Beatrix. Looks like they're making their move down in the bottom lane here. There's only going to be 2 members defending. They're actually gonna rotate over to the Lord, try and go for a pincer movement as Yuna sends in his ultimate. Onwards onto the export. Lord dropping quite low, knock up onto 3 members. Here comes Zorn, here comes Ryzel.
Oh!
Yuna gets the Lord! Now they have to get out! Bloody Hunt onto Esha. He has been slain by Ryzel. Iron Hook onto Zakas, forcing the flicker to safety. Kian losing immortality. Zakas drops his immortality. Jetto flickers forward with the brilliance. Is that a wise idea here? He is now trapped between 5 members of the Homeboys. Immortality pops. Yuna coming in to try and save him. Jetto is gone. Seppat pops immortality. But Lunatix may have made a mistake over investing here, as we have 5 members of the Homeboys alive, trying to threaten the crystal.
He's not over yet. It's 3v5. Yuna is still alive. He's got the power potion as well. He still has the damage, but here he comes again. The Lord still hanging on.
Yep, Yuna jumps in, looking for Ryzel. Last insanity to get Kian to safety. Yuna not going to be able to get the kill. He's been stunned for quite a while. The Lord is broken. Zakas is dead. Homeboys are pushing in.
They're trying.
Ultimate from Kian.
The minions.
Ryzel is on the crystal. Homeboys defies the odds, denies the dreams and hopes of Lunatix, and ends game 1 with a victory.
You can see the sigh of relief coming from Daddy as well. And they did not expect this, but neither did us, because this is a pretty close match. And we talked about how Lunatix was, even though they've not won a game yet, they are giving their opponents a big fight. And Homeboys, fortunately for them, they were able to secure the victory for now, courtesy of that play coming in from Ryzel as well as Zorn to take the crystal, but it's still too close to be called comfort. But nevertheless, a win is still a win.
It was a very solid performance from Team Lunatix. Homeboys are the ones who earned the victory here, but I think it's Lunatix who won the hearts of fans with a desperate performance that resulted in some incredible plays, and I cannot wait to see some of the clips from this game 1. I feel like they had chances at victory here, Terrence. I feel like if they just took that, they got the Lord. Yuna got that last Lord. Yes, Esha is dead. Zakas may die as well. There was no reason for Detto to flicker forward. There was no reason to risk more of their members. They're not going to get kills. Survive. Wait for the Lord. You can delay this game. But what an incredible game it was.
Well, a good defense is a good offense, but in this case, unfortunately for Lunatix, it wasn't enough. It was close, but it wasn't enough. But what I do agree with you is that even though Homeboys was the favorites, Lunatix has earned our respect for their game. They have not given up despite the amount of stuff that has been happening here. But of course, we're going to be taking a look into the backstage of what things are going to be looking like here. And the MVP for that match is going to be none other than Ryzel himself on that Beatrix.
Things got pretty dicey there. We have to recall Ryzel went 8-0 on this Beatrix. But then all of a sudden, his life became very difficult when Yuna started chasing him down. And despite all of that, he was still able to keep his distance, dish the damage that his team needed. And that's why he continues to be the MVP for the Homeboys.
Yep, I agree. And representing from Indonesia, he's definitely showed us what a capable marksman he is as well. And obviously, you know, he was just leading so much in itemizations to a point that he doesn't even need shoes, which is crazy. He just went all in damage. He needed necessary damage to actually burst him down quickly.
It did not
and
happen
for him to get 12-2 and 3, undeniably perfect early game, mid game. Late game, a little bit sloppy, but still, they still kind of got the job done here.
Where when
but
they were
Ryzel
suddenly
was
able
the
to get a
most
comeback, they became more
But I'm
confident.
curious to see what Homeboys has to say about that match.
They became more in
mic
control
check.
of the game, and were expecting to be able to get kills. But they actually needed to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Because at the very end, they got the Lord steal. There was no need to continue the fight. Sacrifice your members, wait for the Lord, and go for your base defense. Because
baik, sangat mantap.
Do you
Semua
like
daripada
that mic
segi
check?
mengaplikasikan
Do you like it?
nilai
I love
tersebut
it.
dengan menjaga
The
disiplin
amount
mereka
of
sekali lagi.
sound quality
Perlu yang
between
perlu
them here,
jaga.
the
Kemenangan
communication of
untuk
them
Riz buat
screaming.
Homebois adalah
That's the
disiplin.
perfect mic
Dan
check of
kalau
how
awak
Homeboys
selectkan
win.
pas untuk
Feel
Lunatix,
good,
apa
win
yang mereka
games.
boleh
Lose,
lakukan
it's
untuk
okay. As long as
taburkan
you feel good, that's most important. You got to keep those vibes up, baby.
your members
Wait
perfect
for the
display
Lord.
enabled
Oh,
your
it's
base
amazing.
efforts and everything. But of course, we're not. We're just
Do
kidding.
you like that
Let's
mic
just
check?
have you guys
Do you
have a
like
look
it?
at
I love
tersebut dengan
it.
menjaga
The
disiplin
amount
mereka
of
sekali lagi.
sound quality.
Kau tak nak dengar GP direct kat kau Hai, nak pick hero apa pick aja. Bagi je lah dia main atlas. Tak kena main atlas comit tu.
Nice.
Nice.
Bawah. Ada minat.
Ayo. Kasih tahu yo.
Masuk. Kiting.
Dapat.
Tuh, kaca.
Susah juga. Nice one guys. Nice one.
You guys gotta have more faith in us. We're not gonna leave you guys out in alerts like that. Of course, you're gonna get to see the mic check for such an incredible game. But now, let's talk about the items. A 28-minute match. I think this was the longest yet, right?
I agree, but at the same time, please don't cancel us because I know we love trolling you guys, but it was a little bit unexpected, but we hope you guys had a little bit of fun with our little bit troll. But now, let's talk a little bit shop here and the itemizations that happened between these games here. Obviously, when it came down to Chibi, first item priority was the Sky Guardian helmet because of the fact that they were snowballing really hard in the game, which is very unique considering that usually, you know, the itemizations are changed because of the fact that how you are progressing in the stage of the game. Them going for a little bit greedy allowed them to go for the snowball, which was great because eventually it allowed them to take all the triple key inhibitors in the outer stage. But what really made them struggle was Warlord actually was the reason why Homebois was winning the games, because every single time they decide to fight, Sanguine Claw is the follow-up to actually chain CC a particular hero. And when they started punishing Warlock, especially coming from Hanzo, knowing that he doesn't have those defensive items to keep him alive, this is where Warlock was struggling to actually contribute in the most of the teamfights and enable Lunatix to make a comeback.
Heroes that are more stationary and just pelt from with artillery from the back are always going to be super vulnerable to the Hanzo. And you could see that Warlord was struggling once Yuna got his items, once he became more confident to really start ambushing the back lines. Despite that, though, it was still a stellar performance. And Lunatix here as well, considering how long the game went, they were also maxed out on items. You can see Detto not going for boots anymore. He wants to be the main DPS for the team. That is his role in this situation. Yuna being able to dish out a lot of damage here as well, going for that Trinity build that you usually see on Marksman. I actually kind of wonder, maybe he could have gone for a bit more burst, maybe go Heptases in that direction, you know?
It's difficult considering that he's the only physical damage here coming from Lunatix. It makes a lot of sense why he had to do that, right? Like, you need the DHS to deal with the tanky ones here as well, but there's only so much he can do. But nevertheless, it was still a very good attempt here. I like how Yuna played it. He's not died a single time. Makes sense. You're a Hanzo. If you're dying as a Hanzo, something is wrong with you. But nevertheless, now let's look at the damage output as well. Obviously, you know, damage taker is going to be on towards Lunatix side. I'm really surprised they're able to hold on this long, considering technically how squishy their composition is with the Kaja, with the Cho, not exactly the tankiest heroes, but fortunately for them, they were able to utilize two very important factors, and that is Qian's Virga armor as well as Dato's Brilliance timings.
Yeah, those were clean. Honestly, I have to give so many props to Qian. His performance yesterday, not bad, but it felt like it could be better. Today, he really was the bulwark for Team Lunatix. And this game would have ended so much earlier if this expert wasn't there, tanking and soaking so much DPS from the side of the Homeboys. The fact that the match dragged on this long is a testament to the efforts, to the skill that this new lineup has, and the potential that they can bring to this season. I'm just excited to see their growth.
Agreed. You know, Warlord as well as Ryzo, definitely one of the strongest players here when it comes to damage output here. But now, let's talk about, because we are on this subject about the Hanzo, we obviously have to talk about the rotations of how the junglers has been playing here, especially in the 20 to 25 mark. Obviously, Chibi, two different junglers, right? One is a tank, one is an assassin. Obviously, Assassin is looking for the flank, but based on how the mechanics designed by Hanzo, you can't exactly do that. So you can see every single time Chibi moves forward, Yuna is always all the way back, trying to find opportunities to actually show his clones and then cut the backlines. Whereas Chibi is always going to be in front, trying to open up the map.
I do feel like Chibi was very comfortable this game, though. In the past, when he's been put on Fredrin, he hasn't had very good performances, but now he really gets to show his stuff. This is an aggressive star player for the Homebois, a personality that many of their fans have loved from the very beginning, and we'll get to watch his antics here in the highlights as he was able to get first blood and really good rotations as well from Zorn. His iron hooks on point the entire game, being able to set up repeated CC chains with the Edith, with the Fredrin taunt, and you can see just why Lunatix weren't able to move around the map at all in the first few minutes.
You know, to be honest, everyone from Homebois actually played really, really well in early game, right? Like, no mistakes, nothing was done. Everything was done to the textbook. Cross the I's, cross the T's, everything was done perfectly as well. I even mentioned it as well. Step 1 to step 10, everything was checked. It's all about closing the game. Everything has been perfect in terms of Homebois. Of course, what they did not expect was actually Hanzo doing so much damage. So that was something that none of us kind of expected as well. And I think this was a turning point from the side of Lunatix, because Homebois, they were able to do a little bit more, but at the same time, they just couldn't close out the game because of the fact that, you know, Asia was a threat that they did not foresaw, because throughout the entire, 10 to 18-minute mark, yeah, Asia is kind of there, but every single time he shows his clones, we kill him off, they didn't exactly have this damage check to feel, and because of that, they underestimated him, forced to play a longer game.
I do think that there's a lot of teams where when they have this kind of lead, will tend to underestimate some very important CC skills on the enemy side. But I actually don't think Homebois did that this game. I feel like they still gave Esha and Zakas more than enough respect towards that late game. I think the only thing that caught them off guard was just how much damage Yuna was actually doing. A lot of teams don't really practice for heroes like this, and when they're pushed into the base, the Hanzo can just sit there, constantly regenerate his energy, and keep sending his ultimate out. And that is so much DPS in such a short period of time that I don't think they were quite ready for that, because there was still a lot of attention being put onto the rest of Team Lunatix.
It's crazy. It's really crazy to see how things have kind of developed in this angle, right? Like, expected, unexpected. But what I really do love about a brand new season on MPL is that every single season, expect the unexpected. There's no such thing as the weakest thing on the first week of MPL. Everyone is giving their all. But I'm sorry to say, statistically wise, Lunatix, they're on a losing streak for now.
They are on a losing streak.
Not won a single game.
But there's growth.
There is growth.
There's evolution here.
Agreed.
We are seeing potential.
But here's a fun fact. Dato has not won a single game in MPL yet. And I feel bad for him. Since his debut from Team Secret, he has not won a single game yet. And
he was
even
with
here.
SMG before Team Secret.
Okay, fair enough.
So I can't remember. Like, I think he played like 1 or 2 games, but it's been so long that I can't remember if those were victories. Technically, you can count him as having won because SMG won games, but you may not be too far off the mark. Deto is a capable player, but he hasn't really had a lot of luck on the stage yet.
You know, to be honest, sometimes in life, not everything goes according to plan. Okay? Sometimes in life, not everything goes according to plan. You gotta pray a lot. You gotta be very, very hopeful. And sometimes hope can be a very, very powerful thing. Alongside with love, of course. And with love and hope, you can actually achieve a lot of things in life. And most importantly, just don't give up.
Motivational words. Icy Baby 1-2, 2023.
Hope. Thank you very much. But of course, we are about 1 more minute into the second game of drafts here. As of yet, I feel like Lunatix drafts, I like the idea. Execution, a little bit of a problem. But Homebois, they need to start adapting in terms of drafts. I feel like the Hanzo is something that they definitely need to respect a little bit more. Definitely caught them by surprise. Personally as well, I felt like that should not have been a winnable draft based on how they draft from game number 1. Oh no, they've got 4 heroes, super squishy, don't have a lot of group to work with. Hanzo was what they needed to kind of even out the score. And even then, it was still very, very risky.
It was risky, but it did end up working out for them.
Nice.
I think, because we always discuss about teams, they play throughout the game, they expect things to go a certain way. Like they're in the lead, they can play aggressive, they're very confident. And then something happens, they get the momentum shifted from under them. And then they just trip and fall, and they lose the game, get reversed on. In this case, it did
You're
not
safe for
happen
someone, man.
Boys, but I think a
Oh, the guy right
smaller
here.
scale
Oh, my bad.
happened in
He's
Lunatix,
behind me.
where when they were suddenly able to get a comeback, they became more confident, they became more aggressive, they became more in control of the game, and were expecting to be able to get kills. But they actually needed to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, because at the very end, they got the Lord Steal. There was no need to continue the fight, sacrifice your members, wait for the Lord, and go for your base defense, because it's already worked for you twice.
That's the thing, right? Lunox is great, you know, like having the Darkening is great against tanks, but Brilliance doesn't really do as much against tanks, and that's going to be a problem, especially in later stage game. So in this cards here, hopefully adaptations need to be done here, but we are going to be heading into the drafts here for game number 2, and this time Team Homebois is going to be on the blue side again. No, sorry, Lunatix is going to be on the blue side once again, and Homebois is going to be on the red side. And again, of course, the championship coach Pops here led Team Hawks to victory for Season 10. Will he be able to lead Homebois this time? Because think about it, Homebois dominated most of the regular seasons in the previous seasons, but they have never made it to day 2 of the playoffs until the previous season.
And they're still looking for that grand final finish as well. Now that they've brought in Zorn, now that they've brought in Rizel, now that they've brought in Pops, you can really feel the energy that this team is exuding in chasing for that trophy. So Team Lunatix definitely have an uphill climb ahead of them, but they've already shown impressive promise, and I'm interested to see how the draft will change with them shifting onto first pick, since surprise picks like the Hanzo will no longer be on the table in this position.
Yep, identical bans coming in from both sides here, even though they have flip sides. It is still going to be the Joy Valentina as well as the Martis. Homebois, however, doesn't want to deal with the Angela as well as Baxia again. So final ban here, are they going to respect the Kaja? That's going to be something that they may actually need to figure out as well. But what surprises me is that Claude was kind of ignored from both sides.
That is true.
That's weird, considering they both play really, really good Claude. Claude was just completely ignored in the game.
Because I think both these teams are inherently aware of the weaknesses that Claude has. Homebois tried playing it twice yesterday, and it cost them their entire early to mid game. So they're not going to do that here, because they know that a full frontal assault can gain momentum right from the very start.
What?
And Lunatix should be aware of that as well. But
Okay.
a Terizla ban very early on.
To be honest, I hate it, but considering it's just a first phase ban, right? Like, I know it's really strong in side lanes and as a roam. If Homebois decide to play a very similar composition again, the penalty zone can just completely lock Homebois in place and then just allow Team Lunatix to do whatever they want to do again. And I feel like it feels like it's something, you know? It's like they're afraid of something. Like, I'm trying to figure out what is it they're gonna do. But here's a fun fact. Yuna, there's a total of 9 A's in the Filipino Imports IGN, and no, it has nothing to do with academy results. Really?
Man, why are they calling him out like that? You could have totally said he has 9 A's. You know, we gotta make our players look good sometimes. You know, maybe they're actually just like hiding it. Maybe Yuna has 10 A's.
Is that a hint for Yuna, like a Super Saiyan mode, like Yuna?
He's gonna add 1 more A to the end of his name, and then he powers up. The more A's he has, the stronger he becomes.
Maybe. But of course, Lunatix, they're going to be opening things up with Paquito as a first pick. Frederick Edith again from Homebois. Similar composition. Not changing too much from game number 1.
I think what Homebois is doing here is that they're kind of testing Kian. When they banned the Terizla, they were effectively removing one of the most consistent EXP laners in the pool. And instantly you can tell, Sapat probably wants to contest Paquito. It was not banned, and this forced Lunatix to have to pick it up themselves. When we know that Kian seems to be more, he seems to prefer the slower, tankier heroes that act as the bulk of the front line. But ooh, interesting. So it doesn't seem like it's gonna be Kian playing on the Paquito. as they gonna be picking up the export. Pretty good. Actually, that's solid. I think that's okay.
It might be a jungle export as well. We've seen it kind of happen, but Lunatix, they're denying the Franco away from Zorn this time. So I hope Zacchus does not repeat himself again. We've seen it kind of happen before.
Yeah, we don't need to bring back terrible memories of hooks in the wrong direction. So we're just gonna purge that from memory as of right now, as the Homeboys will pick up the Kadita, the hero that has only been picked up once for the entirety of the tournament thus far, and was not able to claim a victory.
Oh yeah, Kadita was actually banned in the previous game. This time they actually picked it up themselves. So this is going to be the roamer Kadita coming from Homeboy. So element of surprise, yeah, a lot of burst potential. Maybe not, yeah, roamer Kadita.
Not mid?
Why would they play mid? Oh,
It's Warlord. I don't remember Zorn playing Kadita. Right?
Okay, you poised a very, very good inquiry, but my mind tells me this is a roam Kadita.
I think it's a mid Kadita. We'll see which of us is correct.
Technically, I know why you're going that angle, because if it's a solo mage, they don't really have a lot of magical damage. Yeah, fine. But because there's an Edith, there is a lot of possibilities to actually play this as mid Kadita. So there's no deficit in terms of magical damage. So I guess from that angle, I can see where you're coming from, but I feel this is a roam Kadita.
I'm still sticking to my guns here. We'll see which of us is right once we get into the game, but the bans have already proceeded quite quickly. Homeboy's getting rid of Faramis and Harif, quite interesting. And Lunatix will be banning out the Kaja.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to the Kaja as well, obviously Zorn, if he picks it up, well, technically it's a pretty good one, so Lunatix technically can do that.
In the world.
But the problem here is that it feels like Lunatix, they're not afraid of Zorn playing the Kufra at all. Yes, his Kufra yesterday was a little bit disappointing. Knowing him, he has been a legendary Kufra player. The pioneer of Kufra in Malaysia, the reason how they got his first championship title ever since Kufra was introduced in this game. Yesterday was a little bit of a mess. So I guess Lunatix is just saying that, you know what, pick the Kufra. We don't really mind.
They seem to be banning out heroes Zorn is more consistent on. The Kaja, which he's been playing a lot of, and of course his legendary Cho, which surprisingly we haven't seen a lot of in recent times. But we'll see how the Homeboys do respond to this. From what we can tell, they are still going to be looking for that gold lane, looking for that potential mid or roam, depending on where the Kadita goes. The Beatrix going to be locked in, which I think is fine. Very flexible hero, one of the stronger marksmen universally in the meta.
To be honest, double mage coming from Homeboys isn't too bad. Fredrin is a pretty good frontliner. Edith is a pretty good frontliner as well. They don't need 3, considering that Team Lunatix doesn't have an answer to cut the back lines. But here, Grinders. Lunatix is involved in 2 longest games in MPL MY Season 12 right now versus Homeboys 28 minutes and 15 seconds and versus RSG 27 minutes 46 seconds. Is it RSG or
that's
SMG?
SRG.
I know. Oh,
SRG.
It's Selangor Giants. Oh, my bad. Oops.
You got very confused there, my friend.
I thought it was a typo.
It's understandable. We don't usually see it abbreviated as SRG, but it is the Red Giants. Lunatix gonna be bringing in the carry, only picked once, but 100% win rate, as well as the Novaria, just to make sure that that's not going to be picked up by Warlord if this is going to be a roam Kadita. How are your thoughts about Lunatix's lineup here?
I think Lunatix's lineup is pretty solid right now. Like, it's a little bit more stable compared to game number 1, for sure. They have a lot of solutions here. And with this carry pickup, it forces Homeboys to think about going for a triple tank composition again. And like I said, double mage here is going to be coming from Homeboys. And if that happens, I feel that this Novaria coming from Warlord is not going to have a good time, because eventually the biggest threat from the side of Lunatix is going to be both the Novaria as well as carry. Export, yeah, man, he's a little bit annoying. He's poking here. He's a little bit hard to kill, but that should be all. But no, they bring in the Yu Zhong, so...
Ooh, Edith roam.
You are right. It is going to be Edith roam, Warlord mid. Ah, man, come on, man. I wanted to see Zorn play Kadita.
Wait, did they just switch?
It's
Zorn is playing Kadita. So it is roam? Now this is weird.
Okay,
this is very weird.
It's funny because you're saying this is Kadita mid. I'm saying roam. I'm right. But I was hoping it was a double mage right. So technically we're kind of both wrong, but we're both kind of right.
I'll take it, you know. A tie, everyone wins, everyone loses, everything's fine. But I do
You
wonder
really like
if...
handhelds, huh?
Yeah. Free stuff. Free stuff is good, but either way, this is gonna be an interesting match here, I feel. Terrence, break it down for us.
Yep, when it comes to these drafts as well, Lunatix definitely has a little bit more solid drafts here, but what's really interesting is that we're not seeing a Paquito jungle, but we are seeing an export jungle.
Ooh.
Regardless of the flexibilities coming in from Team Lunatix, they still have a very, very solid draft, whereas Homebois, they're bringing in the Yu Zhong as well to try and interrupt the phase, and I want to see how they're gonna do this right now.
Oh my god, it's Zakus mid. He's playing no. I thought it was gonna be Esha Novaria, but no, it's Zakus. Okay, that's very interesting. I'm very excited to find out how this will go as we entered in the Land of Dawn. Game 2 between Team Lunatix and the Homebois. Currently 1 game up on the red side. Will they be able to get another clean victory?
Wait, you're right. Zakus mid. Okay, Zakus Novaria.
Zakus
all right.
mid.
Oh, all right. Zakus Novaria, did not expect that at all, but I hope he's going to be able to do something about this because he is going to be setting up a lot of plays here. But meanwhile, Homebois, they tried to cut the lanes. Qian was able to intercept this. So it seems like Paquito versus Yu Zhong matchup, it feels a little bit better compared to the Xbox versus Yu Zhong. That does actually nothing.
Yeah, that definitely feels a lot better comparatively. The other matchup you mentioned would be a lot less interactive. And this is Zorn Kadita. I can't remember if we've seen this before. I get the feeling we have at some point, and so a lot of people are going to be saying, what am I talking about? Zorn plays Kadita. Apologies to those people. A Warlord on the Edith, I can guarantee, is something we have not seen before.
Agreed. But now, seeing a little bit of aggression here, Chibi getting a little bit pokes here, but eventually it's just not worth it because at this phase, Lunatix, all they gotta do is just get up to their normal level 4s and then they're gonna be okay, but
Ouch.
At the same time, Qian, ooh, okay, he's got a lot of shields. I think Sapat is just winning his lane right now.
Sapat has a lot more experience in this matchup, and this is a concern we expressed. Qian has so far been playing very tanky EXP laners, like the Edith, like the X-Borg, like the Terizla. We've never seen him on something like a Paquito before, so this is going to be a test of his skills, especially against Sapat.
Yep, now Turtle Dance coming in as well. Lunatix going to be in a situation where they are going to be forced to get information, but they still need to be a little bit careful with how they want to do this.
Esha only hooks the turtle, not going to work for him there as Sapat jumps onto Yuna, who's going to use the last insanity to get out to safety, allowing TV to get a free turtle. Qian a bit late to the party, and Zorn actually misses his Petrify there. Forced to back off.
Yeah, not even going for the fight as well. He's going to be saving up his rock waves here, trying to threaten Team Lunatix. Saving up to try and go in for the next attempt is going to be a smart way to go. But emblems-wise, a lot of sustainabilities here coming in from Sapat. Festival of Blood as well as the Brave Smite. Brave Smite coming from Warlord. Eventually coming from Lunatix, they need to deal with all of this sustainabilities here. Maybe getting Endurance is great, but on him is not good. But Qian, oh my god.
Yep, that's gonna be the Shard Essence right there. As Sapat claims an easy first blood onto Qian. Seems like his Paquito doesn't quite match up here, and if you're in a losing EXP lane matchup, that really does determine a lot of your early pressure in this meta.
Yeah, I agree, but now Hook again from Asia. They've got the vision, but the hitbox is increased. They need Yuna to kind of zone things out again, but at the same time, Homebois, they are going to be able to force a fight this.
Yep, Zorn no Petrify, so Esha flickers to safety, but here comes GB to stop him, and the Niru's Passion sets up the kill for Warlord. Detto dropping real low, GB!
Oh.
Appraisers, Rav, and Warlord somehow secures the double kill.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff here, but it's not over yet. Zakus, ooh!
Scary, scary. Just barely gets out by flying outside the map, but that entire gold shield going the ways of Ryzel and Chibi for an incredible start for the Homebois.
Now, first item priority is going to be Hunter Strike up on Sapat, but Warlord playing Edith mid lane mage. Wow, that's something I did not expect at all, but Zorn, here he comes.
Zorn goes in, Petrify combo, rough waves, not enough damage to burst down Detto, but he will force him in a very dangerous spot.
Yep, Detto now in a little bit of trouble. Snipes comes in, it's not going to be good enough, but at the same time, Zakus replies Zorn, and they are going to be forced to disengage here unless the hook connects. No, it does not. So Homebois, again, going to be in the dance around the roses, but they are going to start the fight again.
Onwards into the Earth Shatter. Nibiru's Passion. Esha bursted down into oblivion in an instant by 3 members of the Homebois. Qian looking for the duel at mid as well, but Sapat has already stated his superiority in this 1v1.
Yeah, and no, this is gonna be an easy Lord here. At the same time, Team Lunatix, all they gotta do is just buy time now, right? Like they pretty much have lost almost every single front here, every single lane. Obviously, it's all about waiting for Yuna to buy a little bit more time, get a little bit more items, and then try and contest this for the third turtle. But to do so, they need to find a way to protect Dato, because right now, they haven't been able to set up a fight just because of how Homebois is always ahead of them, cutting them mid-rotation. Denying them to regroup, and whenever they regroup, Homebois just backs off.
Yeah, Homebois are completely in control here, and that's probably the highest AI winning prediction we've ever seen. I think that was like 80% in favor of them. Only 5 minutes in, 3K net worth lead. It's understandable why the AI would think this way. Compared to before, Lunatix doesn't quite have the same sort of late game insurance in the form of the Hanzo here, so if they fall too behind at this stage, that's it.
Yeah, I'm surprised Suppad was able to catch up the levels compared to Yuna. There's actually even here in terms of jungle versus XP. So this is going to be a little bit of a big problem here. But eventually, Homebois, if they 50-50 this, they're not afraid of just dealing with whatever damage Lunatix dishes out on the table, because of the amount of sustains that Homebois has. It's just so hard to deal with. Warlock's got Spell Vamp, Chibi's got somewhat of heals, but bottom lane, oh my goodness.
Bottom attempt. Hien already had enough difficulty against Suppad alone. If you add Zorn to that recipe, then it's just bad for the side of Team Lunatix. They're going to lose the bottom tier 1, forced to rotate up to make sure their tier 2 doesn't fall too.
Genius one up on Zorn as a first item priority. That is genius indeed.
Yeah, we see Suppad. He's actually by himself here. Bloody Hunt gonna find him. 4 members of Lunatix finally getting vengeance for Hien as Suppad will fall.
This is huge. This is what they needed. Like, they're finally able to find a pick-off like that, considering that Homebois is kind of overextended. That is huge for them. But at the same time, Chen is going to be left isolated here.
Unfortunately, Warlord does not have Onward off cooldown, so he's not able to catch Kido, who is now going to be going on a journey across the world to try and make sure he doesn't meet his grave anytime soon. In the meantime, though, we can see in the mid lane a bit of an altercation. Chibi already trying to set up the wave push for the turtle.
Yep. Great disengage here coming from Chen. He was able to take away a little bit of pressure from the side of Homebois. That gives him a little more space now, considering that Asia, as well as Dato, is slowly scaling. Because eventually, if Dato is not stopped in his tracks, Homebois is going to have a very difficult time dealing with damage, but here comes the catch.
Warlord finds Yuna. He gets Iron hooked into the Bloody Hunt, but no damage from the backline as Yuna loses immortality instantly. Black Dragon form from Suppad. Just to zone out the rest of Lunatix. They will have no chance at saving their jungler.
Yep, too much AoEs, too much CCs, but
They're
Warlord!
still going for it. The Flicker Earth Shadow. Suppad jumping in. 3 members tossed it into the rough waves. Homebois obliterates the lineup of Team Lunatix and wipes them off the face of the map.
Beautiful layering coming from Homebois here. Like, to start things off, who would have thought that Warlord's Earth Shatter chained into the taunt, chained into the Terrify, chained into the knockup coming from Zorn, and then killing him off. Because if any of that was stacked together for that CC, Dato might have lived right there.
That's just insane. Homebois are so perfectly harmonized right now. It's a symphony. As Chibi gonna taunt Yuna again. Risel's in the area, but this may be a bad position as Kian jumps into the backline, forces the flicker from the Beatrix. Last Insanity a bit too late. Zac is not going to find the snipe. No casualties here.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit difficult here, but Homebois, again, they can reset their fight once again. Lunatix, they need to find a way, because Dato hasn't been able to get free hits at all, considering the amount of CCs coming from Homebois. And Lunatix, they don't really have that much, except for the KO punch as well as the Bloody Hunt coming from Asia. But aside from that, there's nothing really they can do, because everyone from Homebois has just gotten somewhat of a CC, somewhat of stun to mitigate them. And on top of it all, they've got so much sustainabilities, which eventually Lunatix need to deal with those healing potential that Homebois is going to be bringing to the table.
Yeah, there's a lot of value in having Warlord in the mid position as well. And as we can see from his items, he's got those roam boots. That's going to be a dire hit on the Edith along with the conceal on Zorn. So a lot of utility here, as well as extra damage. We've never seen Warlord on the Edith before, but his score is saying that this is very comfortable for him.
Well, technically Edith is, even though it's a tank marksman, in my textbook, it's kind of a mage as well, because his majority damage comes from his ultimate magic damage. So
I guess I could be with the angle, but hook comes in.
They get the hook spot. Bloody Hunter jumps backwards, petrified. Detto gonna be able to purify, but he's still being locked on by the Black Dragon. Rizal gets the killing spree onto Yuna as Detto falls to Sabat, chasing him down to the ends of the earth. And Zorn outplays Esha. Don't know if he needed to use the rough waves there, but why not?
Hey, it's classic Zorn, man. Like, you know you won the game, just go for it. And then just flex on it because there's nothing Lunatix could have done. Like, even with the rough waves in hands or without it, Lunatix wouldn't be able to push that. It's the confidence. He knows his opponents right now.
Zorn is definitely the epitome of confidence right here. And he's making it known. Homeboys with the 6,000 goal lead. Lord pushing up. In the previous game, Homeboys were able to get massive amounts of structures with just the first Lord. I don't think they'll try to go as aggressively this time, but this is still going to be a very important defense for Lunatix.
Yeah, there's a reason why he's called the king of emotes. In this case, look at this. He's just taking a selfie picture. He knows that they can see him, but so what? Because right now, Chen is going to be in trouble here.
Yep, nice flicker from Kian. Will get him out of Zorn's iron sights. Make sure he survives, but all the external towers have fallen. Esha going to miss his iron hook. Not going to catch out Chibi. Lord will collide, but it's the first Lord, so not too much damage onto the inhib. Sabat threatening bot, but the pulse from the tower, make sure to take that out. Black Dragon form. Homeboy's investing. Earth Crafter, flicker forward, patches out Yuna. Iron hook pulls Warlord back, gets the kill onto the inhib, but what will it cost? Yuna will drop his immortality. Chibi going forward. Ford is done. Appraiser's Wrath into the Renner. Zapate, mega kill on Rizal. Iron hook pulling Chibi back, but it doesn't matter because all the structures are falling. Homeboys going to take this last one as well. Lunatix, will they be able to defend it with no minions left? Looks like they will. Homeboys doing so much damage.
Yep. Now, considering that Homeboys has got the sustains here, they are going to try and go for it more. They just got the Queen Wings as well, so they are going to be taking a little bit more damage reduction here to try and sustain with their spell vans. But what you say, they will settle down with this inhibitor and they will back out. So this is going to be the reset. This is interesting. This is very smart of Homeboys. Again, playing it safe, playing it good, but Lunatix has been put in this exact same situation from game one.
Yeah, but
how
this
do they
time,
equalize the 10k deficit?
They don't have the Hanzo this time. They don't have enough damage this time. And compared to the previous game, they did not lose all of their inhibitors on the first Lord of the game. This is dire for Lunatix. And the biggest net worth lead we've seen, the earliest we've seen here, 12 minutes in, 10,000 for the Homeboys. Lunatix were able to make up this deficit in game one, but I'm not seeing the chances of that in game two.
It's going to be a little bit difficult, but Zorn, once again, the king of emotes, known for his emotes here. A legacy, legendary player here in MPL MY. The only player in MPL MY history, as well as SG, to be playing in all seasons, all 12 seasons. The only player thus far.
Yep, he's very eager to reclaim that championship title. And he's looking to gain it this season with the Homeboys, who are right now playing this game masterfully. Look at that AI. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Oh, hold on though. Zorn gonna get caught out. Will he fight the bullet for his mistakes? Rough waves gets him out. Lunatix trying to chase, trying to get something.
Oh no!
Flickers forward!
Zorn!
He's kiting him! He's got no HP! His health bar is as low as the AI winning prediction, but he finally gets taken out.
Oh, that's the first time I've seen Zorn taunt and then got messed up, because now he's calling his members here to kind of bully him, and Chen is going to be the casualty here. Was it worth it, Chen? Was it worth it?
Considering the mental damage, I would take it in that position, man. You get the kill on Zorn after he's taunting in your face. I would take it. Considering Lunatix, their chances right now are not looking all that bright.
That's the first time I've ever seen Zorn taunting this hard and then got punished for it.
Karma.
First time
finally some
ever.
karma. Unfortunately, not gonna have too much of that as now Homeboys are pushing in onwards. Black Dragon Form comes in. Iron Hook not gonna do too much as the Retrify. Gonna find two members. The suppress onto Sabat. Not going to matter as the crystal bursts. And Homeboys secures a clean sweep against Team Lunatix.
Very, very convincing game 2 here. Easy game for Homeboys. And of course, they will slay the Wolves here as Homebois secures their second series in MPL MY's Week 1 regular seasons. And of course, Homebois, they definitely did not disappoint. However, it's sad to say for Lunatix, they will be taking an L in the first week. Thus far, all the games they've played so far has been amazing, but this game too, a little bit difficult here for Lunatix.
Can't blame him though. Lunatix really has the deck stacked against him. Having to start off the season against Red Giants, against Homebois. These are not easy teams to fight, and they put up a really solid game here. But it's the Homebois who get the victory. And from the Slayer of Demons, they become the Slayer of Wolves. They're going to be sitting very pretty near the top of the charts and are eager to rise to the top as the weeks continue. So let's see what they have to say about the occasion, throwing it over to our host on stage.
Dan itu dia Flame Boys, make some noise for Homebois! Alright, ini adalah kemenangan kedua untuk pasukan Homebois. Chibi, I nak tanya dulu. First game tu, dia macam Homebois susah sikit nak close game. Tapi, masa korang close game tu, korang rasa lega tak?
Lega lah sebab kita orang rasa sebab tak late sebab ada Xbox orang kuat sangat untuk late game, so kita orang kena disiplin lagi lah insyaAllah.
So pada second game tu korang step up on discipline ke?
Yang kedua tu kita orang betul-betul tutup dorang macam mana tak nak bagi dorang farm apa semua, so kita orang tutup dengan close game awal lah.
Alright, okay, very good. Next. Rizal. MVP kita pada game pertama, MVP kita kedua-dua game semalam. Rizal, apa secret Rizal actually?
Makan ayam gunting.
Makan ayam gunting. Hari ni makan ayam gunting ke tak, Anip? Belum? Oh, so nanti Anip belanja? Alright, okay. Thank you very much. Zorn. Okay. The legendary Zorn. Okay. Kita tahu next match Homebois adalah against SMG, which is your ex-team. Apa yang Zorn nak cakap dekat SMG dan juga Sasa?
SMG rasanya saya pun dah keluar dah kat team SMG. Jadi setakat SMG rasanya sepanjang saya dengan SMG saya rasa diorang tak adalah kot mana. Sebab itulah saya keluar kot. Saya masuk Homebois. Homebois adalah tim yang akan M5 tahun ni.
Alright. I'm not gonna say anything else. We'll let the match do the talking, okay? Alright, guys. Audience, Dewan Sri Putra.
Antagonis, okay?
Sekejap. I nak announce MVP dulu. Alright, boleh?
Boleh.
Okay, Dewan Sri Putra, siapakah MVP anda?
Zod!
Alright, count with me. 3, 2, 1. MVP kita adalah Warlord! Hai Warlord!
Hello.
Okay, pada game pertama kita boleh nampak Warlord punya Sicilian memang lain macam. Adakah Sicilian ialah satu kunci kemenangan untuk Homebois?
Semua hero boleh bagi kemenangan.
Apa favourite mid laner atau mage Warlord?
ODT.
Oh, okay. Are we gonna see Odette soon, Coach? Odette, boleh nampak tak? Coach nak jawab.
Zon kata SMG biasa-biasa kan. Mungkin kita orang pakai lawan SMG kot.
Oh! Okay. Alright, sebelum I throw it back to the casters, analis kita ada ayat or two. Silakan.
Season lepas, kita orang kalah dengan Lunatix, so kemenangan hari ini kita persembahkan buat Solos.
Okay.
Okay, kalau untuk player Lunatix actually untuk Zakus rasanya tak payah comeback kot sebab kalah juga
Oh my gosh. Homeboys is hot today, but Homeboys did win. So guys, once again, congratulations kepada pasukan Homeboys. Thank you so much, boys. Congratulations. And Mari, let's show it back to the casters to wrap up what happened in this best of 2 series. Caster, silakan.
Ooh, we just had to do some serious dodging there because there are so many shots fired by the Homeboys. This is a team that knows how to rile up the crowd. And of course, their MVP of the match, Warlord, being able to secure so many great rotations on that game as Ide.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, his game 2 was really, really good. His game 1 was very, very consistent as well. Even though he died in the later stage of the game, he kind of prolonged the fight, but he was very consistent in just following up with his fights thus far. So obviously, he is going to be the MVP of the match, and he's played really, really well. And obviously, Edith, mid, unheard of, pulled off. He's died 4 times, but the amount of setups he's been doing for the team, phenomenal. Never, ever seen it before, but beautifully done.
So let's see what they have to say about it themselves as we throw it over to the mic check.
Senyum sekali.
Ay, aku setuju dengan engkau. Aku pelik. Asal.
Apa player-player dia lagi sebab boyfriend aku?
Tak, pan.
Petang kepala kau. Kalau kita dah simpan hero balik.
Kami kat Franco ya. Ni, sebab ya.
Bagi dah, bagi.
Paku tu kanan ya.
Atas sampai atas.
Tak lagi.
Bawa boleh.
Kasih sok.
Nice one.
Bawa.
Ya, kau dah boleh buat.
Langsung
Kasih.
Jom.
Buat ni ya.
Tak ada minion tu.
Spot ya. Dapat. Kasih. Nice.
Now, that was a very, very calculated mic check, I'd say.
I'm actually surprised. It speaks to the amount of experience, the maturity that Homeboys have been able to achieve. Because we remember this to be a very loud team, a very aggressive team. They love being up on stage. They love getting those kills. But now there's a quality to it. They understand what it is they need to do. And they're able to hold back some of their primal instincts to make sure that at the end of the day, they see that victory screen.
Agreed. But at the same time as well, you know, let's take a look at the items real quick as well. Zaka's not going for the Clock of Destiny, try to go for the Enchanted Talisman as well with the Trunken. Didn't see too much damage coming from him here. So before we get into the damage department, I want to take a look on how the Homeboys actually won this game. And the amount of sustains they had. Brave Smite, Festival of Blood, Brave Smite from Edith as well, Tenacity, very, very tanky ones. But to top it off, they've also gotten a Queen Wing for Chibi to kind of sustain through the damage. And it feels like, even though Queen Wing is not necessarily the greatest against a composition against a carry, but considering how far ahead they are, carry hasn't been able to reach that power spike. And this Queen Wing is so beneficial when they're tanking against the Paquito, Export, as well as the Novara to a certain degree. And it feels like it's just straight up a flex and just taking advantage of the cooldown reduction ability on the item itself.
Yeah, Queen's Wings has a lot of inherent synergy with Red Rin, but you don't see it very often because it is a bit greedy. Only takes a factor when you're low on HP, and if you're behind, you're usually dead by then. But it works out here because you can see that Team Lunatix were not able to get a foothold in this game. Like you mentioned earlier, no Clock of Destiny here. Zaka still went for that Enchanted Talisman, and I gotta be honest, I don't feel like he needed to do that. He's already got Impure Rage. Maybe he could have even chosen to go for, say, the Common Emblem to get a bit more regen, pump up the magic damage. I don't really know.
Yeah, but even Dato as well, he's gotten like 5 item power spike. He just doesn't have the capabilities to actually do the damage, because considering the amount of stuns and CCs that Homeboys bring to the table, he hasn't been able to do free hits. And to top it off, look at the damage output as well. Like, Zaka's not doing a lot as well, but Ryzel, consistent GPM, 924 gold per minute on his Beatrix again. He's just farming like a mad machine.
Isn't that like the highest GPM we've seen so far this season?
It could be, you know, it could be.
I don't think we've seen anyone break 900 yet. I actually thought it wouldn't be possible in this meta because things are getting more active, the farming is slowing down, but leave it to Ryzel. He's really making waves here ever since he came from ID.
Yeah, he is definitely someone to be watching out for as well. Look at him, it's the carry as well, doing the most amount of damage throughout this entire team fight. Forgotten one is Chibi, obviously. Damage taker is going to be sent back from Chibi. But need I remind you as well, Serpat has been playing really well on his first laning phase on his Yuzhong. That is something that we kind of missed out a little bit here. But both of the damage dealt, despite all this, I'm surprised that it's pretty 50-50. It's just that Homebois has more CCs to actually finish off their fights. And because of this, very, very nice game coming from Homebois. But of course, in case we missed out on action here, let's take a look at the highlights on how they actually win this game. Because during this fight here, Serpat kind of opened things up to slow out progression down the bottom lane. And ever since that kind of happened, Lunatix hasn't been able to group up with the rest of the team to kind of force a fight. And every single time this happens, Homebois is always pushing the pressure to try and force a fight. And even here as well, look at them. They're always group up in 5. Lunatix just couldn't even find an opportunity to force a fight because of all these little things and housekeeping that Homebois is just so far ahead.
I think just from game 1, Homebois have already understood what it is that makes Team Lunatix tick. And a lot of their compositions tend to end up with a lack of crowd control.
Yep.
You mentioned there's so much crowd control on the Homebois. Look at Lunatix side. They're depending wholly on Esha. They have a little bit on the Paquito, but other than that, they're just sitting ducks a lot of the time, which is why Homebois felt so comfortable of just running them down right from the very beginning, diving towers, going for kills, snowballing, because they understand that now without the Hanzo they have to deal with, even with the X-Borg, which is being put in a jungle position, it's going to be very difficult for them to mount the same kind of comeback we saw.
Agreed. It's very, very difficult indeed here. But nevertheless here, good attempt coming from Lunatix here. However, their journey will end for this week for now, obviously. They are going to be playing in the following weeks to come, but they will definitely need to rethink their strategy. It is the first week, you know. It's all about proving themselves, making a statement, introduction, debut match here in MPL Season 12. And we've seen a very, very strong showing coming from Homebois. We've seen a very, very strong showing coming from Selangor Red Giants as well, which is something that I'm excited to see, considering that Lunatix didn't exactly do too well against them, but they definitely put on a fight against them. So that's something that I'm looking forward to see later on, because if I do recall, Selangor Red Giants is going to be playing up next edge.
Yeah, actually, just some really intense matches that are going to be coming up very soon for the rest of the day. But before we move on to the second match, we got to see what happens from the results of the first match to the MPL MY Season 12 standings. As we can see that Homebois gonna be sitting pretty now at the top of the charts. Gonna be tying up with Team Hag, actually keeping it very tight with their 4-1 game win-loss, 80% win percentage, getting 5 points. Unfortunately, with that loss, we can see that Lunatix still not able to get a victory, and their score remains at 0.
Of course, Selangor Red Giants is going to be on the 3rd place here as well, on 3rd place. And that's something that I'm looking forward to as well, because their opponents is going to be against Red Esports, where they are going to be making their first appearance later on. So that's something that I think a lot of us are curious to see how far and how well Red Esports is going to be playing in these upcoming matches.
That's true. They're the only team so far that hasn't shown their faces on the Season 12 stage yet. And I feel like we've heard some very promising things about this team. They improved really heavily in the previous season, growing throughout the regular season to the playoffs. And I feel like we're going to see something even more.
Can I leak something?
Leak something?
Yeah.
Yeah? What you got?
Kim, the child prodigy, might not be playing.
Ooh.
But you know what I want to leak some more? And that is actually the Kagura Beyond the Cloud skin. And from 8th of August all the way to the 4th of September, Beyond the Clouds Elven Scroll event is actually happening right now. And there are discounts where you can actually do quests and side missions every single day to limit it down until 1,068 diamonds of deduction. So technically, you can almost get it for free. And of course, if you have weekly diamond pass active, you can also stand a chance to win the skin for absolutely free. So be sure to join the Clouds Draw event as well on the 12th of August for a chance to get the Edith as well as the Xavier skin.
We see, honestly, the effects of this skin are really clean. They're very pretty, and I'm looking forward to getting it. That's why I'm working real hard to get those points, get those discounts. But these teams are working just as hard as well, and we're going to see all their blood, sweat, and tears on the stage again for our second match of the day. Like you mentioned, it is going to be Red Esports versus the Selangor Red Giants.
Now, this is going to be a very interesting one here because we've seen Selangor Red Giants, before coming to the MPL in the SPS series, right? They were doing really, really well. They didn't exactly make it that far, but coming into here, they starting things off with a very, very clean 2-0. And of course, here's another hint one again. Red Giants might be bringing something new to the table as well. I heard a rumor that the coach might not be Wacky this time.
Ooh, is that so?
I heard.
That's quite interesting. We got some spicy stuff to discuss. But before then, we're gonna take a short break, make sure that everything is set up and all of the players are ready for what is going to be probably the highlight match of the day, as we did see Selangor Red Giants perform incredibly well. So the only team left in the season that hasn't shown their gameplay. We'll get to see that after this. My name's Staffa, alongside IceBaby12 on the English desk. We'll see you in a few moments as we go on this break. When we come back, it's gonna be Red versus Red.
Look who finally showed up. Unload your weapon and return the goods. And if you ask nicely, I just might let it go.
Who said I was returning it?
You little... We had a deal!
I just came here to test my new toys.
They ain't even loaded. Staring down the barrel and you're still daydreaming about being an inventor? Huh? Or she gets it, then you'll have to answer to Eruditio.
Eruditio. Well, isn't that perfect? I got a bone to pick with them. So how about I just blast you both?
You're crazy! Leave me out of your squabbles! That was dirty.
Haven't you heard? I do things my way.
I really don't like being used as bait, you know. Anyway, let's return that to Eruditio.
Oh, I have something special in store for them down the road. So I'll take this as payment.